Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Growth Through Adversity series. I am Dr. Toni. If this is your first time joining us on one of these amazing interviews, I am so glad that you're here today. And if you've been here before, welcome back. I know time is precious, and how we choose to use our time is so important in my humble opinion. And so you choosing to use your time to be with us here today, I consider to be an honor and a privilege. So thank you for being here. I am your success and satisfaction mentor for leaders, achievers, and entrepreneurs, as well as parenting professionals, because I am all the above. I've been there, I've done that, and I continue to live a life where I balance all of those things. And today I have an amazing human being who reached out to me to share a part of her story, which I know is only right. We can only share a small part of our story here. I wish we had time to share everything, but our stories are just so vast, right? And so rich with experience. And we have been working back and forth for quite some time to have her here with us today so that she could share her experiences and her wisdom and the many things that she's learned and grown from as a result. And so I'm going to pass the mic over to you so you can introduce yourself. And I didn't say your name first this time because I don't want to say it wrong. So I'm going to have you say your name, and that way it will keep me in check. So I will say your name correctly. I don't like saying people's names wrong if I can prevent that. So I'm going to pass the mic to you. I know you've already told me how to pronounce your name, and I'm going to just make sure I pronounce it the correct way this time.
Perfectly fine. So good afternoon, good evening, good morning to whomever is listening to this, wherever in the world. Is in the universal greeting of peace and blessing to everyone. So it's really, really awesome to chat to this amazing young lady, because wow, her platform is just wow. You know, she is a wow woman of wonder as far as I'm concerned. So it's an honor to talk to her and to talk to all of you via her. So my name, very simply, is Mehreen. My surname is Mia. There are titles attached to that via honoris causa. So it is a professor and doctor, and an ambassadorship with humanitarianism, which was granted me by the GIA. So that's where the ambassadorship comes in. So it's Professor Dr. HC Ambassador Mehreen Mia, but you can just call me Sister Mehreen or Mia, whichever is comfortable. It's no big deal. Other than that, yeah, I was honored with that ambassadorship. Actually, I got that while I was doing frontline work during the COVID and the pandemic, which hit us here in South Africa, which was a real I think gift from the universe to me, was here in my little town of South Africa, and that was being recognized around the globe, and to really know that was impacting so many people. And then that was certified this year by a signed letter and a certification from President Biden from the USA, confirming and acknowledging the work I was doing humanitarian wise. So that was really a motivational factor for me to just keep going, you know. And then, of course, I'm the president for SA chapter for Successful One Academy that deals with education, especially for youth and women and children. And then I have multiple platforms, but my own company is called Mehreen, pronounced as the Mia Company. It's the closest I could get to getting my dad's name there as an only child, so to keep his legacy going. But yeah, so the surname is spelled M-I-A, but I could get M-E-A. But it worked for me because M-E stands for motivate, empower, and advance. So that's kind of what I do as my passion, what I do now. And yeah, I belong to multiple platforms globally. Been on many radio programs, TV programs, series, etc., more about women, empowering women, trying to grow people, teaching what empowerment actually means, and especially trying to get to our children and our youth. Mm-hmm. And I encourage, and I belong to quite a few GBV platforms where I'm very involved in trying to curb and deal with that. So yeah, I'm multiple fold buddy, but to really make that impact, to make a difference, so that we leave the legacy that continues, you know, to make the differences in people's lives.
Oh my gosh. And that's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing all of that with us. One of the things actually that Mia and I have been going back and forth with about having this scheduled, and actually needed to be rescheduled the other week, is because of the massive flooding that has
Yes.
been happening in Africa, and one that has been affecting the connection. So if there are connection issues, I might put my video off. That sometimes helps the connection to hear better. But 2 and 3 is, she's been out there in the community, supporting the community, doing what she can, while these times continue to be challenging, up and down, challenging for her community and many others in Africa as well. I don't know if you want to speak to that, and some of what you are all navigating right now in your community and how you have been supporting that.
Well, I think it starts off with 2 years ago when the pandemic hit in terms of frontline work. And at that point, we were at total lockdown. And I'm going back there to get to this point for a reason. Back then, it was total lockdown where you couldn't get to anywhere. You couldn't come out your house. You couldn't get into a taxi to go to buy yourself groceries and stuff like that. And here I was at home. And I just felt like, you know what? Yeah, we have people doing whatever they can, but we're not reaching people in the outskirts. We're not reaching the people that really need. Those of the few that who can actually get to a store in the limited time frames that we were given weren't getting to the people who needed it, etc. So I made my applications, I did my motivation, and I got my certification to be able to go out. And I had fantastic sponsors and donors at the time who worked with me. And I went into these locations, and when I talk locations, I'm talking locations where it's really impoverished areas, where there are really people who don't have means, literally. They survive on what they can. Children just make do, and they just happy regardless. But those are the areas that I would go to with a volunteer team that I had going with me, and that's what started. It started with. First it started with just going out to give a warm meal to these people. And then I realized, giving them just a warm meal a day was not enough. They needed to sustain even after I left. So then we started with the little hampers of groceries. So we'd leave it with them and we'd give them stuff that they could keep them going for a week until we could come back the following week. And then it became a winter drive, because from that point on, it started off here in March, it was autumn kind of thing. And then the lockdown rushed into winter. So that feeding scheme going into hamper drive led into a blanket drive and a winter drive, which meant we started to collect the clothing and the blankets and started to going out to give out those. And it just kept running. And somebody had once said to me in a previous interview, like, where did you learn how to do all of this? And it juggled in my mind that, oh my God, you know what? I actually didn't learn that. It was something that was within me because I grew up with it. I learned it from my grandfather, to be quite honest. And I was his leech. I latched onto him everywhere he went, whether it was just to a store, whether it was to go and do his, he was very much a prominent public figure, building this and doing this and very involved in community work. And I would just latch onto him and go and see who he's with and what he's doing. And then it really hit me like, oh my word, who would have thought what I was doing with him when I was 6 and 7 and 8, going up into 11 would be something I'd be doing now. And that for me was like a wow moment, because it's like you're keeping this legacy thing going, Mehreen, and you didn't even realize it. So that's where it started. But then I realized this is more my passion than it is anything else. Some people would say, you know what, there's no money that's given to you for this. And I'm saying nothing will buy the feeling of the warmth that you get from somebody who said, God bless you for doing this, or for seeing this child's face when you're giving them something that they never saw coming, wrapping them in a blanket that they never had. That is priceless. There's no money value attached to that kind of moment. So when it came to this, I wasn't in this province. In order to interpret province here, South Africa is divided into 9 provinces. If you're looking from there, it might reduce itself to being a state. So 9 states. I wasn't here, and last year we had massive riots at one point in this specific state or province that I'm in now, and I wasn't here at the time. But back then there were water shortages, etc. So from where I was, I'd still do whatever I had to do in this province, and then I relocated back here. And as soon as I got here, things started to go haywire again. So obviously still bearing with the same network that I had prior, I just engaged with them again. And then this time though, we had multiple deaths. We had a lot more to have to deal with in terms of, I always say the pandemic brought about, yes, this pandemic of a virus, but there's 3 other pandemics that came with that. There's the pandemic of hunger, pandemic of poverty, and then there's the pandemic of mental health issues. And that just culminated in becoming quadrupled after the flooding. Because now you have people that are not interested in the virus anymore. They're not interested even just wearing a mask anymore. They've lost their entire houses. They've seen it flood away. They've lost entire families. They don't care. So the mind frame is just not, I don't care. The poverty line is just worse. The hunger lines are just worse. So you all, you obviously, you can't wait for government because they have their protocols to have to follow before they get aid to you, but we have people that need help now. So you get engaged with your networking and you get engaged with volunteers, and then we have, you address community halls and try and house as many people as you can. And people were just being fed in these community halls. We were getting NGOs together here who were getting together and trying to do things on their own, get sponsors from here, get cooks out to go and cook and feed people. So it's just been everybody, becoming humane again. And everybody digging in within themselves to find that humanitarian, because everyone was feeling something for somebody else. So it was a period to you. It brought everybody down to par and figure out, we need to get together if we're going to get through it. But the sad part was we had just kind of managed to get a break from the first flood, which was 5 weeks ago. And then that's when I had to reschedule, which was a week ago, when the next hit us. And that was more catastrophic because the damages from the first one were not even fixed or altered yet. So it left people with even worse to have to cope with and deal with. But thank God we didn't lose lives in the second flood, which was the most recent one, but we just had a lot more damages done. So this time I had damage done to my own home. So I couldn't quite be out and doing stuff, but the point is the network was still there, so we could still engage and get people involved. It just, Toni, the thing is with this kind of work is something that I think is given to us to just remind us that everything here is so not permanent. And nothing is permanent.
The pandemic of what I would classify as a pandemic of fear, right? Everything that you listed puts people in survival mode and therefore living in fear. And we know that we just cannot operate as optimally in that place because we are literally in survival mode. And to have a community of folks who can support and model that, yes, these are catastrophic events. And yes, it makes sense to feel fear, but we don't want to live in fear. We want to live in faith. And we're going to work together with this network to help ourselves, our community, move forward and move through. And it sounds like you have had seeds planted all the way back during your childhood, some very positive, right, with your grandfather and having those experiences. But I know also when you reached out to me, you've had your own kind of seeds of experience that have been really, really challenging, traumatic even, that have also happened in your life. And I'm curious about kind of what your experience has been there, and if some of the fear and the faith and moving through all of that, connects with you as you're doing this work now.
Absolutely, it does, because MEA, like I said, was born on a bed with me in my mind as I lay there as a crippled. That just sums it up. That was, I was about 22, 23, prime of my life back then. I'm not giving my age away, I'm just saying. But but back then I was there after a car accident, which left me paralyzed. A 12-hour operation later, they had changed my L2, 3, and 4. Discs were replaced. So as far as their words were concerned, my operation was successful, but I'm not showing signs of my own recovery as they would have expected. So 7 days later, still no sign of Mehreen moving her legs or, recognizing any movement, not feeling anything if they touch me. And the only thing anything working for me was my brain. So I lay there like that for quite a while. And give or take a little while of going through that, they then said to me, you know what, we've really tried everything and we don't think you're going to be able to walk again. And based on where your spinal injury is, we don't think you'll be able to even have kids, at some point. So we're still trying our best with you. This was like 4 weeks into being there.
Mm.
And so I lay there at that point, and you must know I had been this people pleaser with the A grades and really, bringing to the law and really ready for the world, trying to take it all by storm. And wanting to just do my own thing. I was an only child, so everything for me was about, I want to just do this. And this was just me lying there, and I'm thinking, is this what life's going to be like? My God, I'm going to just lie like this? What am I going to be reduced to? Where's all of my dreams and stuff gone to? But I must just add that just before that accident happened, I became a total rebel for a little while. And I must tell you, some people used to say to me, how do I speak so casually about that point, especially as a Muslim woman, that you became a rebel and you smile about it? And I say, well, I'm at peace with that. Why aren't you at peace with that? It was that point in my life that grew me to the maximum of who I am today. So I'm happy to talk about it. So yeah, so just before that accident, I was a total rebel who became tired of being a people pleaser. I was tired of just making everybody proud. I was like, you know what, Mehreen, just go do what you want to do now. And I started to do it. And every time I started to do something that I know was wrong, it kind of kicked me in the face, but I just didn't realize I was being kicked in the face by the universe, so to speak. And then the one day this happens, and then you just lie there. And I had a spiritual guy from the age of 11. Who was always just a guide to tell us, teach you certain things about prayer, what to do, etc., etc. So when this accident happened, and 4 weeks after them, and they said to me, you're never going to walk again or whatever, he got in touch with my mom, and he was overseas. He was in Mecca at the time. And so he said to my mom, I need to speak to her. And she said, well, I can't get to her. She's in a ICU, high care, and they don't allow me in there with a phone. And he said, I'm not asking you, I'm telling you. So tomorrow you go at 10 o'clock and get the phone with you, and I'll talk to her. Mind you, the next day she got there, and the security guard at the door, as she was approaching the front of the hospital, he was called away from there with his radio, and she just opened as you walked in. And she was entering high care, and the nurse that was at the station got up to take a call. So she just walked past her, and she got to me. And as she got to me, the phone rang, and she's, Toni, when you're a little child and you do something really wrong and naughty, and you get caught red-handed by your parent, they're like, you get all cold as soon as you realize, oh gosh, okay, here's it gonna come now. So as soon as she put that phone to my ear and I heard his voice, that's how I felt. I felt like, oh gosh, okay, here it comes. I've just been a rebel for the past year, and now he's just gonna lash all over me about how wrong I was. And all he said to me was, he greeted me and he said, so how are you feeling? And I said to him, well, I don't know, actually. And then he said to me, so what did they say? And this is the profound part. He just said to me, so what did they say? And I said, well, they said I might not be able to walk again, and I might not be able to have kids. And they said that they're trying their best, but they don't think it's working. So, and then he said, so what do you have to say about what they say? And in my mind, I'm thinking, oh my God, like really, how do I even argue with these people? These are medical specialists. I've got 5 of them. I can't argue with them, He says, I'm going to leave it there because I know that you kind of know the answer to my question. So I just want you to focus on what do you have to say about what they're saying to you right now. Okay, and I'm going to go. And he cut the call. So mom left because she was an accountant. So she went back to her office, and there's me lying there in high care again. And this is ringing in my head. Like, what does this even mean? What does it mean?
Yeah.
And it only dawned on me 2 days afterward what that meant. And for me, and that's the message that I want to give to people, there's so much of power in your mind. There's so much of power that you hold within you that I am a living example of the fact that you are able to take control of your life to the point of where today, fast forward to today, I am walking. Fast forward to today, I am a mother. And that just proves to me that there's a lot of power invested in you about taking control of life.
Yes.
And the reason that can happen, and that happened for me back there, is because I lay there. Yes, it took 7.5 months to take my first step. I had to learn literally how to go to a bathroom, to use it, to learn all of these things again. But it started here. My fight started here. And I started to have to embrace the wrongs that I had done, embrace me in that wrong moment, embrace and take control and say, you know what, Mehreen, yes, you did. Apologize for it and move on. No, if no one's going to hold it against you, just grow with whatever you've endured and make your peace. But the message in the whole thing was just threefold. It was, you're born into this world with three gifts. You're born into this world with a gift of family, because that's not chosen by you. That's God chosen for you. So you're given that gift of family. You're given your gift of your faith, whatever faith you're born into. And you're given your gift of your physical being, which is your body. And in my life thus far, when it came to the rebellious streak, I threw away two of those gifts. I chose and I threw away the family and I threw away the faith. So I only had the physical self, the body left. And for me, it was almost like this negotiation going on where he was saying to me from upstairs, you know what? I've been trying to warn you and you just weren't listening. Okay. So now here's the deal. You still have half of the third gift left. But if you're able to make your peace with the balance of the other two, I'll give you all three back again. And I just registered that, you know what, Mehreen, it's not, eat your humble pie, child, and just say that you're sorry. Whoever you need to say you're sorry to. But firstly, say you're sorry to yourself if you hurt you first. And grow in your own forgiveness. And become yourself again, because you have a purpose. There's a reason you can. So in my mind, I knew all of this. I still hadn't said it because, of course, you're still in this, like, do I really have to say sorry to everybody? I mean, like, you know, so you go through the flow. But I did the whole process, and then it was 5 days after that. Physiotherapist has this norm of every morning he'd walk in at 5 a.m. and he'd do this with the pen on my foot, bottom of my foot. And obviously he's so used to no reaction. He'll just, you know, do that. There's nothing, sign, and he's gone. And that morning he did it and I kicked him. And then he kept doing it. I'm asleep and it never wakes me up. So I just keep sleeping. And he did it and I kicked him. And he did it again and I kicked him. And when he did it the third time, I kicked him and I said, can you stop doing that? It's just so annoying. And he looked at me and he said, you mean you can feel that? I said, yes, very irritating. And so all of a sudden it was like this hubbub of doctors and nurses. And I was like, okay, what's going on? And then it dawned on me, oh my God, I can feel. Yeah. I realized back at that point, wait, how did I get to this? Anyway, they did their tests and they did whatever they wanted to do medically. But then I had the time to analyze because I'm still lying there. And in that analysis, Toni, is where I found that there is so much of power that I had inside me. I just need to resonate and find that inside me again. And that sits with every single person in this world. No matter what is your adversity that you are facing, there's still that glimpse of opportunity that you have to find for yourself. And the key to it is being honest with yourself. The key to it is being aware of what's going on with you. Being honest with what you've done wrong, appreciating even the wrongs and just growing with it, you know? Eventually, I did do the apology thing. I did, and I eventually said to one person, I said, you know, I'm so sorry if I caused you pain. At the time that I did it, though, I didn't feel like I was doing anything wrong, so I'm not sorry about that. But I'm sorry that I caused you the pain. And they just laughed at me and said, you know what? We just want you to heal, just heal. And I grew from there. And that for me is just a message of. There's just a message of hope in that. There's a message of faith in that. There's a message of you can take back control of you being your own leader for yourself. You are your own mentor. You are your own controller. You are your own powerhouse. You just have to really focus on you and give yourself that worth. And that's how MEA was born, because I'm motivated, I empowered, and I advanced myself to grow me to walk again, you know, and to go through that.
Faith and forgiveness are two powerful themes that we have seen just be such an important part of inner healing, outer healing. It is such an important part, and it can seem so abstract.
Yeah.
right? Because it's not something super tangible or miserable. Like we want to, see, taste, we want to be able to like physically tangible things. But if you think about it, right? If we all think about it, it is feelings that we're talking about here. I don't feel good. I want to feel good. Feelings aren't tangible. They're felt, right? They're not like this cup where you can, just measure it in this concrete way. Like it's felt. It is felt. And so when we talk about things like faith and forgiveness, really, I personally, I don't believe that there is one concrete way to practice either one of those. And yet both are so powerful, no matter who we are. They're powerful for everyone. It's just the way in which we go about doing it isn't going to look the same. But it sounds like it was not just profound for you and your spiritual being, your internal self, but your whole physical body and your whole lifestyle.
Absolutely. And the thing is, when you talk about faith, I want to just reiterate, faith I'm talking about is not just faith in religious context. I'm talking just faith in you as a being. Faith in just knowing that you were created here for a purpose. Just faith in you being a human being here on this earth is, just have faith in you being you. Have faith in the fact that your smile means something to someone else. You have a purpose. It's faith in you. It's not about just your faith as in religion and God. It's about you having faith in yourself. And lots of the times, Toni, we find, and I find, especially in the counseling and the workshops that I give for women, they define that faith and that they look for this validation of themselves from external sources continuously. We want somebody else to be happy with what we're looking like. We want somebody else to be happy with what we're saying. We want somebody else to be pleased with what we're doing. We want that recognition because then it makes us feel good. Mm-hmm. And I'm saying I was tired of being the people pleaser, so I became the rebel. And then the rebel cost me. And then I became the me pleaser for my faith and for me and to find me. And that's when I became a me, who's me today.
Yep.
And I'm grateful. I mean, there are the multiple certificates and degrees and whatever, but you can have 20 of them on a wall, but they mean nothing unless you're actually doing or fulfilling a purpose with them. The worth of that piece of paper is based on what you're doing with it. Yes. And I just, it took hard work. It takes effort. You're not going to just sit there and somebody's going to just tell you this. If somebody is to come to me for a one-on-one session, for example, anyone who's come to me before will tell you, the first thing Mehreen is going to say to me is, if you're ready to be honest with yourself, then sit in front of me and have this one-on-one. Otherwise, you're wasting your own time, because I'm going to read between the lines. I'm going to read through your body language, and I'm going to know. I'm not here to listen to what you'd like me to hear.
Okay.
I'm going to need you to listen to what you need to hear and what you need to get through. Yeah. So if you're not going to be honest with yourself, then don't waste our time. So that's the key, though. How many of us are really wanting to be honest with how bad we are about some things? We don't really want that. We prefer to blame. We prefer to somebody else's fault. It's this one, it's that one. So-and-so said this, so-and-so did this. All of this is impacting on me. But how is that you? That's still external forces that you are allowing to control you. Take back the control of you and understand. It's like this COVID, when pandemic hit, there were kids that I was counseling through it, because when they had to go back to school, there were teachers that had passed on and whatever. So I developed a program to help these children. And there was one little girl, she was 7. And I was counseling her, and I remember saying to her, so what do you think this virus looks like? And, before I say this, though, I asked her permission. I said, can I use your example when I speak to people? And she said, yes, sure, but why do you ask me permission? So I said, because it's your example. Mm-hmm. So I'm just getting your permission. And she said, no, you must tell everybody, but can I sign it? She's 7, and she can sign it. I'm like, okay, I'll make you sign a little page. So I have that somewhere. But so I said to her, what do you think this virus looks like? And she said to me, let me draw it for you. And I said, okay, that's even better. So draw it for me. And she draws this octopus. And I say to her, okay, so why does this virus look like an octopus? Because it's all over the place. It's like everywhere. It's, it's one is here, and then it's there, and then it's everywhere. It's just everywhere. So I say, so where do you go then if the virus is everywhere? She says, That's why I don't go anywhere, because it's everywhere. And so the reason why I'm bringing that forth is because that is something that is there. And eventually she learned this from me. This octopus is there. I can't see it though. So what can I do if I can't see something, but I know it might be dangerous? Can I control that? I can't see it, but it's causing me fear. I can't, and by the same token, as adults or whoever, even if it's kids today, people will say things, people will do things, people will make up stuff about you, they'll bully you, they'll do stuff to you, and etc. etc. These are still people that are, you don't know what people are going to say, what people are going to think. Like we couldn't control this virus and where it's next going to hit, but we could take control of ourselves. You can't take control of you. What can I do about my reaction to what's happening? So somebody's going to stand in front of me and throw this huge tantrum about what a bad person I was and A, B, and C, and I'm going to sit there and say, cool, are you happy with that now? I'm at peace with what you said. If you're happy with that, then it's okay. But I control my reaction to that. If my reaction though is going to be defensive and become argumentative, and oh my, it's gonna be a rigmarole of a 360 going around in circles. So take back control of what you can control, and the only thing you can control in this life is you.
It's true. It's true. And that's one of the things I think is easy to forget and sounds almost too simplistic to remember, but it is, and it's something that I often find myself reminding folks of as well. And so can you give us an example of one or two of the ways that you helped yourself take back control as you were in recovery and kind of regaining power over your physical body?
Yep, I can give one that comes to, it was so funny because of where, because it's L2, 3, and 4 of my spine. I had a brace that was put around me, right? Which I had to have on for 7 months, just over 7 months. Even when I could walk a few steps on my own, I still had to keep the brace on because there couldn't be any movement of the actual vertebrae into whatever. So I had to have this on. And if I had to sit, I could sit up like how I'm sitting now to talk to you. I had to sit with a specific way. And if I had to lie down, I couldn't just wake up like how you wake up. I had to roll over a bed to wake up. Mm-hmm. And there was a point when I was alone and I wanted to get off this bed so badly because I was so, like, you get tired of just lying sometimes. And I said to myself, you know what? I'm getting off this bed. Now, normally, if you have to roll off a bed, you need someone to help you. And at that point, my hand stick was not next to me. And I rolled, and I rolled completely off onto the floor. Mm-hmm. Onto the floor. Not fun, because immediately I thought, oh my God, did I just mess up my op now? Am I going backwards now? Really now? That's the first thing that hit me. And then I realized, wait. And then I'm assessed, and I'm on this floor with this brace on and everything. And I'm assessing, okay, there's the headboard. If I handle, and if I hold this bed, and if I try and maneuver myself, if I use my knee more than I use my elbow, you just maneuver now, okay? I'm not going to use so much of my waistline as opposed to using the balance of my body. And I managed to get into a crouch position without having to motion my waistline so much. Wow. And that was, in that position, I just started to cry. Mm-hmm. I literally I just stayed there and I sobbed, and I get emotional now when I think about it, because I sobbed and I thought, I just took back control of how to use my limbs.
You did?
Without a stick.
Yeah.
I fell. Yes, I fell. Literally, I fell. But I'm on my knees and I'm on my hands and I did it by myself. Yeah. And I thought, okay, so this is not going to be easy, but I can do this. Wait, I can get back onto this bed. It took an hour, 20 minutes, but I did. I got back on there and I thought to myself, okay, I was exhausted. I couldn't move for the next day and a half. But the point is that was like the light bulb moment where you realize I just have to keep going. That was one of them. And the next was when I slipped. I was trying to get into a car, and at that point I was walking, but with the aid of a stick. and I slipped. I mismanaged how to control the stick and how to get into a vehicle. So I slipped onto the ground as opposed to getting in the car. And immediately there was my dad that was in the car and driving, and he was waiting for me at the door. And I slipped, and I was very stubborn. I didn't want people to do it for me. I just always wanted to do it myself. And he was standing right there. When he tried to pick me up, I said, no, just give me the stick. Give me the stick. And he said, but I can help you, and it's quicker and it's easier. I don't want you to hurt yourself. This is Dad, and he's late now, so God bless him. But so he gave me the stick, and he still stood there as a father would. And I got onto the stick, and I got into the car door, and I maneuvered myself onto this car seat. And I'm thinking, okay, we're getting there. And then he looked at me and said, are you sure you're okay to sit like that? Do you not want me to put the seat back? Are you like, no, I'm fine. Okay, let's just go. And so I was there. But all of this is not just about the physical motions. There's a lot that happens mentally when you actually fall like that. There's a lot that happens with you emotionally when you fall like that.
Yeah.
And it overrides your fear, because your fear takes control as soon as you fall. If I have to sit and assess that whole moment, the first thing that happens is a fear, like, oh gosh, did I just mess up my spine again? Oh God, no, I'm not going backwards again. And then it's the fear. And then you go into this, wait, I am not going back there. Just give me my stick. It's like, go away. Just give me the stick. I have to do this. I have to get up. And then you do it, and it takes a long while. And then you get frustrated with yourself. There's emotional trauma that happens inside you. But the perseverance is the key. And it's not easy. It's not easy. It's easy for me to tell the story now, but at that point, it's not easy. That is why if I have to walk into a hospital, and I do this sometimes, I just go and see random people in hospitals when I'm able to, because sometimes they just need, even if it's a stranger that comes to give a talk or just talk to, I just want to give that hope that I've been there. And the reason why I teach what I teach with the empowerment exercises is because I'm not teaching from the psychological textbooks I studied from. Yes, they're all theories and they work. Yes, they do work. Okay. But I teach from what I've been through. I teach from the exercises and the empowerment and the motivation and the advancement that I endured and my lessons. And that's what I'm teaching you, because I am the example that it works. And I just believe that is what people need. It's human nature. People love a story. People resonate with a story. They don't want a textbook anymore. They don't want to do and don'ts in your presentations anymore. They want you. They want the life structure. And that is, I believe, honestly, I had to go through that entire dark tunnel, because the light had to be that my dark tunnel had to be listened to give off light to us now. And that's what it's about.
I agree wholeheartedly that as we go through life and we experience challenges and traumas, I don't believe that we're being punished or anything like that. I do believe that it's an opportunity for us to rediscover and believe and have faith in who we are and what we're capable of. And as we do that and we embody that and we really own that, we can shine that light for others who are in need of that, whenever that timing is for them and whatever way that looks like for them. And I know for myself personally, I've experienced challenges that most people wouldn't have. When they look at me, they don't know, like you said, they see the title or the experience or the degrees, and that's fine. I don't regret having gotten any of them, but really what makes my work most powerful is my experience, because that authenticity shines brighter than any degree.
Absolutely. Right? Absolutely. That is what that's the core of where you come from with what we do. And when that happens, that's all that's needed. That's all that's really needed, is that core, that is rare to find sometimes in today's world. It's really a rare quality. And when we have that, I believe those are the people that we need to just pull together, the authentic lot of us, because that's where the light is going to be drawn from, for the balance of them that need us. Really, they do. And I just feel there's so much to give. There's so much to offer. There's so much to give to people. People must also just want it, though. People must be ready for it.
Right.
People must embrace it. A lot of the times people would come to me, for example, and they expect to fix it from me. And that's not what it's about. I can't fix you. I can guide you. The fixing has to happen with you, for you. And that starts with you realizing how worth it you are for you to be fixed. Yeah. And if you're not aware of something that's not good for you, or something that's bad that's happening with you, how are you going to fix it? How are you going to know it needs to be changed? So lots of people they find excuses for other people's bad behavior towards them. They find excuses for what was wrong in their lives because it's comfort zone. And I don't want to get out of my comfort zone now. I'm not happy with that. What happens if I have to do these? These are challenges everyone in the world is going through. But I'm just, we on platforms like this need to offer that we are living examples of the fact that we can, and you can, and we can get through. Being honest with yourself and making changes for yourself doesn't make you disrespectful, doesn't make you bad, doesn't make you selfish. It actually makes you greater. It makes you encompass the roles you need to play even more better. If you're a mom, doesn't mean you got to be a mom, an empowered mom. It makes you a better mom. If you're a wife, it makes you a better wife. If you're a grandma, it makes you a better grandmom. And if you're a youth, then it's going to make you a better youth. There's nothing about empowerment that's going to make you bad. And it's viewed sometimes as bad. People just misconstrue what it's all about. And for me, empowerment is not power. It's not giving you power to be superior over somebody. Empowerment is not about that. For me, empowerment is about you self-growing, your self-growth, your self-development, you growing you. And once you grow yourself, your family grows with you. Doesn't mean because you're becoming empowered, you have to disintegrate from your family now. No, it just grows you. So your circle grows better. And that's how it just seems to have to filter through.
It's the ripple effect.
Yeah,
absolutely, the ripple effect. And so I am so grateful that we got to have this conversation today. And I always like to come to a close in the last few minutes with a question.
Yeah.
Who or what is most inspiring for you in your life right now?
Right now, or where did I draw it from?
Right now.
That's, what, there's so many people, but I have to say, if I talk resilience, if I talk somebody who's got encouraged to just keep going, no matter what they're facing. And if you asked me this 20 years ago, this would not have been my answer, but you're asking me now, it's my mother.
Oh,
wow. Even though, back then the rebellious streaks made me not so much close to mom. I was the rebel. I was tired of pleasing mom all the time. I was tired of doing this, tired of doing that. But if I have to, in hindsight, go back and think of her, she was the working woman. She was the one who took care of everything. My dad was there. I'm talking about for me. She still had everything under control. She did everything up into doing, over and above being the accountant. She still did sewing lessons, and she did icing and baking lessons, and she's one of the best cooks and bakers I know now. And it's like a balance of everything. And I think somehow that nurtures itself within you sometimes, and you don't even realize it. I know when I was growing up, for example, I was this, I'd have stuff just lying all over the place, and she'd be like, can you put your stuff in your place, please? Can you put your stuff back where it's supposed to be? Can you keep your room neat and tidy? And I'd be like, oh, for goodness sake, it's just my room. Just close the door, And then I have my daughter today, and I keep saying to her, can you put your stuff in your place? And I sound just like my mother. And I said, oh my gosh, I sound like her now. So, it stems from a lot, but I grew up with my grandmother, and my grandmother was my mentor. My grandmom and my granddad, I lived with them for quite a while. A lot of what I am today is based on how I grew up with them. So I love my mom, love you, mommy. But a lot of what I do today, a lot of what I teach today, a lot of what I've learned about life came from my grandparents, and growing up with them and watching them and how they did what they had to do. My grandmother juggled between being a teacher, a chef, doing all of this stuff just to make ends meet for herself, for her family. I watched her do all of this. I watched my grandfather, and I told you, was his leech. So we don't really understand the impact that we have on children around us until we at some point as an adult realize what impact the adult we were looking at when we were little impacted us today. So yeah, so I got lots of inspiration from these people in my family. It was just I'm blessed in that way.
Wow, that's wonderful. If anyone wants to reach out to you, connect with you in any way, what's the best way to connect with you? How would you like folks to reach you?
I think the website is the best one. It's www.themea company. That's THEMEA company, all one word. .co.za. And there is a link on there where you can send me an email through the actual website, and I will get it. And that is obviously, like I said to you, the name is in legacy of my dad. My dad was like me, the quiet somebody who got things done. You never hear him, but he's in the background, and everything will always just be, So a lot of the times, as much as I have mom, there's a lot of the dad that resonates now. And there's such a bar you pick up, especially your family, and it's only when the adult that you realize how much you pick up about them. When you're doing what you eventually ought to do and you fulfill the purpose. But that's just it. We're all here for a purpose. We need to find what that is and work towards fulfilling it, because it's life's journey. It's our life's journey. It's a gift. And I'll just leave this with you and with everyone else. You're given two gifts. I did speak about my experience of the gifts of three, but I think you're given two gifts from above. You're given a gift of time, and you're given a gift of choice. And what we choose to do with the gift of time will determine how you live your life. So choose wisely with your choices and how you actually use the time, because neither of those can be taken back or reversed.
Yeah. And often our pains lead to our passions, and if we follow our passions, we discover our purpose. And that is what message I would share with everyone listening, because we do all experience pain at some point in life, but we also can all experience a connection to passion, and we all want to feel purpose. So that is something that we can all carry with us as well. And I think also resonates with Mia's story that she shared with us today. So thank you so much for being here with us. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. It was awesome to finally connect.
Thank you so much. And I am sending you so many wishes of just wellness and safety as you all are moving through these cold months in Africa and preparing from the flood.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much. We need that. We need blessings. That carries us all through, from regardless of where we are in the world. We can still reach out to each other in some way or form in that way. That's for sure. That brings the love and unity we need.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you everyone for joining us today, for spending your precious time with us. We appreciate it, and we wish you all the best.
Bye-bye. Thank you.